What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Heelcast. I'm your host this week, the RAV, Raven Effect, back by popular demand. Maybe not that popular. Now, I tried to get everyone with me today, but here's the thing. We have a Griggs sighting, although that's in Orlando. I have no idea what happened to him. We know Numero's busy doing some diva dirt, so he's not with us. Heroin Hurls is busy getting fappy in a Wendy's bathroom somewhere, trying to chase down Donovan Dijak with an Impact Wrestling contract. In fact, I may hear the fapping right now. And my man Chef, well, Chef's probably either in jail or he's hanging out in Orlando watching UFC pay-per-views with EC3 or returning Knockout or returning Stable to Impact Wrestling. So, unfortunately, I got stuck with the King of the B Squad here.
Dude, Chef told me that he works over there, and at 6 o'clock, somebody drives him on a golf cart to the Impact taping because it starts at 6 and he gets off at 6. Apparently, he hops in a golf cart and gets driven over to the soundstage. It's like, does Chef get, like, royalty treatment over there?
That's what happens when you're with the Mafia. And if you're not aware, that'd be our buddy Kyle from King of the Mountain is with us here on the All-Star Show, come to find out. What's up, Kyle?
Stand up! Drew Galloway in the house. The Asian Mexican Drew Galloway. The multicultural. And does Kyle need to stop smoking weed? Does Kyle got to stop smoking weed? That's what I got from that.
With us, the one, the only, the real FK9. FK9, what's up?
Well, what's up is I've been reading the show reports from the Impact Zone, and I'm currently alternating between jumping for joy and screaming in horror. So this might be a weird show for all of us.
I so wish we weren't covering this show because I just want to fucking talk these spoilers and I can't wait for next week. But I guess the thing that we can laugh about is Goldberg may wind up the champion tonight, like 50-something years old, and people are going to go nuts for that shit. I just saw that all over Facebook. But
guys, hold on a second. I just want to go back real quick because I'm a little confused. But do I have this right that somebody told Hurls that Donovan Dijak was going somewhere, but they didn't say anything about Impact, and he just assumed that and then came on the show like he had some insider information? Is that really what happened? Got Juergens on the contract? The hell is that right there? It's smudge. It's not coffee.
I know Raven Effect muted the fuck out of his microphone as soon as Kyle started breaking. Hurls, what the fuck were you thinking, buddy? Jesus Christ. Anyways... Yeah, the Heelcast. Super credible. Anyways, we'll move on to the plug. So check out ImpactAsylum.net. That's right. It's no longer TNAAsylum.net. We'll kind of explain that a little bit later, but ImpactAsylum.net, the new site looks great. It seems to be more active than the TNAAsylum.net, which was kind of getting about as stagnant as the past 6 weeks of TV tapings. Also check out, of course, Straight Shooting, which can also always be found on the new ImpactAsylum.net with our boy, the one and only FK9. Check out Kyle, BQ, Will, everyone at King of the Mountain podcast. Check out Robert Does Wrestling, y'all. And, of course, our buddy Numero 47, keeping it real with Diva Dirt. Guys, we'll move on here to the news. We actually got quite a bit of news. It's funny how much news there is now because I remember at times last year we were struggling for news. So there is no more TNA. You might not know that if you paid attention to Ring of Honor last night, which we'll get into, of course, because the people are asking Raven Effect to kind of let Ring of Honor know what's up. But it's now officially Impact Wrestling. FK9, what are your thoughts on this? A lot of people feel this is like something that was kind of a long time coming. I don't know. FK9, what's your thoughts on this change?
It feels like something that they've been dragging their feet on for a long time, and then they finally got off their asses and just decided to do it. Because I remember an interview where Jeff Jarrett, and this was probably a couple of years ago, where the guy said, "Are you sticking with TNA? Are you moving to Impact Wrestling?" And he says, "Yeah, that's the game plan." And then they just never really committed to it. Sometimes it's TNA, sometimes it's Impact Wrestling, sometimes it's both. And hey, here's the TNA logo, here's the Impact Wrestling logo. It's like they couldn't make up their damn minds. And so finally, the new ownership, new regime taking over, Anthem decides, yeah, the TNA name's been dragged through the mud long enough. Let's just switch to Impact Wrestling and freaking commit to it this time. So it's probably a good idea.
You know, I've said on just about every podcast I've ever done, I don't like the name TNA. Never did. Sounds like a goddamn porno company. Like you said, they've been dragging their feet on it for a long time, and even though they announced that, the website is still Shop TNA. The belt's still got TNA on them. There's still traces of TNA on the product, so they definitely have a lot of work to do scrubbing that out. But I'm with it, man. It's time. I mean, the name TNA, it's stupid, and not just that. Even if it was a good name, the reputation is burned to the public consumers when it comes to professional wrestling. Outside of us, their hardcore fan base, when, like Ring of Honor fans, when they chant fuck TNA, because it's just cool to hate on TNA. They don't watch the show. They don't know anything about it. They just think that TNA sucks because they've built up, unfortunately, a bad reputation over the years with some unfortunate decisions and whatnot. But for them to move forward, you got to rip those walls down, start rebuilding the place, and Impact Wrestling. I like it. But somebody made a joke on Reddit that kind of ticked me off a little bit. You know how they say LOL TNA? That's like the catchphrase. You guys familiar with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, now Anthem backwards is Meh TNA, MEH TNA. That's the new joke. So it's like, oh, God, shit never ends. But
that's clever.
Yeah, I'm with him. I'm with Impact Wrestling all the way. No more TNA. Done with that. The only TNA that should exist is, the stuff at Hurls' house and his cell phone, and that the stack of magazines in the closet. That's TNA.
Hurls is still rolling with magazine?
Hurls still got his Sable magazine from '99. Still got some of the classics.
Got that shit.
Yeah, pages have been stuck together for years. I can't browse through it, but got that somewhere.
I just hope he doesn't have the Sunny DVD Blu-ray.
Excuse me. Oh man.
Yeah, I fucking hate the name change, man. I do. I hate it. Look, this has been my brand since 2006, but really, I mean, I've been watching this company. Like, I was getting some of the pay-per-views, when they were on Wednesday nights for $10. I mean, I was getting some of them in 2003. I mean, I've almost been with TNA since day one. I mean, I was watching as it was going in the Attitude Years. Like, a lot of people don't remember this, and a lot of the viewers are new, but man, the TNA crowd back in the days was the hypest crowd since ECW. They were the second best crowd I've ever seen. The Ring of Honor crowd right now today is by far the best, and the old TNA crowd used to make them look like a bunch of bitches, because they are a bunch of bitches, by the way, so fuck you. And I'll get to that later. I'm sorry. People have been asking Raven Effect to go off, and Raven Effect's got a rant today, but the TNA. I guess you can't chant fuck TNA, but like that chant's probably never going to happen again. And I feel like the way things are going, there may have been an opportunity for that after reading these spoilers, but that's not going to happen. It's always been TNA, and the show is Impact, and I get the tits and ass moniker, for one, and I know that the company, when it very first started, was kind of going along those directions because Vince Russo was a pervert at the time before he went all born again Christian. But like, and I understand that it has a bad reputation, and it's kind of like, let's wipe this away, and Dixie Carter's gone and all that. But it's just, man, I don't know. I don't like it. And I'm a traditionalist, man. Like, I'm an NFL historian, is how I feel. Like, don't change the name of the Washington Redskins. Like, I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see a team that's been one of the best teams, one of the better franchises in the history of the National Football League, change their name to something stupid. I'm sorry, they're the Washington Redskins. My Houston Oilers, I'm a 49er fan, but like the Houston Oilers, that shit's not coming back. That sucks. I don't want to see the Washington Redskins go. I don't want to see TNA go. It's how I feel. But
I think it stumps their growth, though. I think it holds back. Like, I agree with you. And also changing the name, like, are you erasing, like, the rich history of the company? Because, yeah, they made some bad decisions, but they've been around this long for a reason, because no matter what was going on, I'll say any year of TNA Impact Wrestling, any single year, no matter what bad things were going on, there was always good things on the card. There was always something. There was always something on the show. You know what I mean? But I just think, whether we like it or not, the name is burned, and it's not going to bring more people in. It feels like, no matter what they do, just because somebody hears TNA and they're turned off, and that's bad. It's unfortunate, but if they have to remodel to grow, then I guess that's just what they have to do. That's just my take.
I'll ask everyone here. I mean, okay, so now it's Impact Wrestling, but don't you kind of think TNA and Impact kind of they're branded together? I mean, is Impact Wrestling the best name to go to if you have to change it? I mean, maybe it is better.
Maybe they have to scrub off Impact too and just do a whole new name, you know?
I would say call it GFW at that point. FK9, what do you say? I know you don't want to call it GFW, that's for sure. But
yeah, I'm iffy on it. I agree that the TNA name probably had to go. I mean, that name had become synonymous with being the redheaded stepchild of the wrestling world. Been dragged through the mud for years. I liked it. I had a fondness for it, but it probably needed to go. It was probably time. I think the Impact Wrestling name, it's associated with the same company, but it's not synonymous with it. And plus, I mean, you say Impact Wrestling, I think people are still going to know which company you're referencing, but a lot of the negative connotations are still synonymous with TNA. So it's a little similar, but I'll take this over changing the name to something completely different. At least there's a little bit of familiarity there, but not so much that you remember all the bad stuff that came along with it.
So, okay, would you get... I know FK9's against it. Would you prefer they just call themselves GFW?
Gold for wholesale. You guys make a great point, though, that Impact is so closely associated with TNA already. Maybe they should look for a different name. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're going with Impact, though. I don't think that's an option at this point. It seems like they're sticking with Impact. Just a little Anthem logo under it. They scrubbed out the owl, though. You guys catch that? The owl is no longer part of the logo.
Who?
The owl.
Who?
The Impact owl. It's always watching.
Who? I was just making owl noises. I was seeing if someone's going to catch on. I wasn't making fun of Kyle. I was just going, owls say who. So that's, it's an animal joke, motherfuckers.
They lick Tootsie Pops as well.
Hey,
they do lick Tootsie Pops.
We're now the Impact Heelcast, so now we do owl jokes as opposed to dick jokes. We've totally lost our moniker, too. I'm just kidding. Of course, we're still going to do dick jokes. Speaking of dicks, Bruce Prichard is back with the company, and I don't love you. I fucking hate this guy. I am not happy that he's came back. And to make it worse, like, John Gaburek and Bruce Prichard are both now together working in Impact Wrestling, which I hate.
What does this guy possibly have to offer? Well, don't bother. Rhetorical question. I'll tell you. 3 million followers on his friggin' podcast. As near as I can figure out, that's the only reason he was brought back. They're trying to get his 3 million listeners to watch the show, so they give him some kind of vanity position. And thankfully, he's not working with talent again. This is what they're saying now. He's in a quote unquote advisory position, whichever that means. So he's probably gonna have like minimal involvement backstage. Maybe they'll give him some kind of some kind of vanity spot on the TV show where he gets his face shown once.
I read that he was going to be a manager. That's what I read, that he was going to be a heel manager.
Oh, who the hell knows? Who the hell cares? They're doing it to get his listeners to watch the show. That's it. So I think we can take solace in the fact that he'll probably have minimal involvement in the day-to-day operations. But beyond that, I think they're just doing whatever they think they can possibly do to get more eyeballs on the product. Now, whether that actually works, I have doubts, a lot of doubts. But they're trying something. You
mentioned the podcast listeners. You mentioned the podcast listeners, and it's like a perfect segue for me to say what I was going to say, because check it out. You mentioned a lot of great points about all of Bruce Prichard's blunders during his run in TNA. But for me, I have a personal reason why I'm okay with this, because check it out. I got a cousin named Sean. Sean's a wrestling fan, but he never really watched TNA. He's always just been a casual WWE viewer. Throughout the years, he's always he bought tickets to WWE shows. And for me, a guy that doesn't watch much WWE, I've been to a lot of their shows just because my cousin Sean's always bringing me. And he is a huge listener to Bruce Prichard's podcast. He loves Bruce Prichard's podcast. He's always telling me to listen to it. I'll be honest, I never have. Still haven't listened to it. But now that Bruce Prichard came over to Impact, my cousin Sean texted me, and he's like, hey, dude, I'm going to start watching the show. I heard that Bruce Prichard's going to be a part of it. You know that I love his podcast. So it's like, finally, my cousin Sean can watch Impact, and I could talk to him about it and possibly go to some shows with him when they come back around. So, like, me personally, I'm okay with that because, now I could bond with some of my family members over some good old Impact Wrestling. He's just nope. He's not in the TNA. He actually works in television. Sean's got a pretty good job. He works over at the AMC building, AMC Network. Pretty good job. So he's always hooking me up with these WWE tickets. I think he gets hooked up with them. But the guy's never watched Impact. Once in a while, I'll send him something. He'll watch it. But he's never gotten into it. And all it took was Bruce Prichard, and I wasn't expecting it, but I'm with it just on a personal level. But I don't know how many other people are going to be in that same scenario where someone they know. But you said he's got 3 million? I didn't even know that. I didn't know the podcast was that big. I thought it was probably obscure.
3 million viewers. That's the number I saw.
Well, cousin Sean's down. Maybe some others are.
How are there 3 million people that want to listen to fucking Brother Love? Seriously. That's what I don't get. But
apparently he's got a good show. I don't know. I can't judge it because I've never listened to it.
Maybe it doesn't make that much money from the podcast. He probably doesn't whore it out like old Vinny Rue does. But I know you talked about the Aces and Eights thing, and it was booked well and all that. It was. However, Bruce Prichard at the time was the head of talent relations, and during this Aces and Eights thing, he let Gallows just leave, D'Lo leave, Devon leave. I mean, you literally just watched this group that had a bunch of members, and then all of a sudden they're just dying off. Nux was still in the company, but Prichard chose not to use him, to where at the very end we had Bully Ray, Tito Ortiz, and Brooke. I mean, it was just, this guy sucked, and that's why I don't think he deserves to be back in this company. I think he did. I think him and John Gaburek have done more damage to this company than anyone not named Dixie Carter. I think they did more than Hulk Hogan ever did. I think they did more than, I don't think Eric Bischoff did really any damage, but it just, it's like, when I remember the Bobby Roode contract expiring, when he was one of the champs and shit like that. It was just, it was bad. And I just don't feel that this guy deserves to be anywhere near it. And if he's going to come back as a manager, the only heel manager people remember was Brother Love. And that dude was really annoying and really wasn't that much over. He can bring on his little bread face, but, just, I don't know. Do we got any confirmation on these listener numbers at all? Take that as a no. So last week we confirmed on the show, because it was news that Mike and Maria had re-signed with Impact Wrestling, only to find out in the midst of a bunch of shit happening that Mike and Maria stopped, shunned, and walked away from Impact Wrestling. We will not get to see Mike Bennett blown off of Impact Wrestling. We will not get to see Allie have her revenge with Maria Kanellis Bennett. They waited so long that we won't even see Allie get to beat Maria Kanellis Bennett now. This one, out of all the departures we've just had, this one for me sucks the worst, because I think that this was literally a future world champion, Mike Bennett, and I think you had Maria, who literally everything she was doing was gold and was the best heel manager in ring, and was getting anything over that she touched, it was turning to gold. Kyle, what are your thoughts on the Bennett's leaving? Kyle, you with us?
My phone keeps freezing up when I go to click the unmute button. That's why I keep pausing before my responses. We can just cut this out real quick. But you know what, man? It's really unfortunate that these two are gone. It really sucks. But I think there is a chance that you might see them again in Impact Wrestling down the road. Like, just look at history. You always see people come back for the most part, unless they get successful in WWE, and that doesn't really always happen. But it's a huge loss for the company. And what I've been thinking is, like, Anthem comes in. Dixie Carter, under her regime, was definitely running in the red for so long. And I was reading these reports of, like, some of the paychecks these guys were getting. So Ed and his team come in. They obviously restructure the pay. The 10% clause is in there. Guys aren't making the money that they were making. I mean, they want to turn this into a profitable company, not something just getting by where you're always reading dirt sheet reports of, oh, Impact Wrestling doesn't have the funds for this taping. So this team comes, they're going to fix things up. They got to restructure the place, and not everybody is with the pay cut. And it's no coincidence to me that the Hardys, Maria, so those are like real big stars right there. Drew, kind of in that category, another big star. Bennett, probably because of his marriage to Maria. You know, she was definitely part of him coming in. I'm sure he's making good money as well. And not everybody is down with the pay cut. And I think that's what it boils down to. But you got to think of the nature of the business. Guys are always jumping around company to company. It doesn't matter what generation it is. You know, WCW, WWF, TNA, WWE, Ring of Honor. Guys are always going to jump around. You never know when they're going to come back. But you can't turn your back on this company. You got to have faith. You got to stay with us. We've been through so much. You know, this isn't the end. And I do think the new regime is pretty promising. But, yeah, big losses all across the board. And it really hurts that we're not going to see the miracle with that TNA. Whoops, see, shock collar, bzz, Impact Wrestling World title anytime soon, at least in the near future.
That's one positive in this, is that they're choosing the high road, they're being classy, and they're leaving at least they're leaving the door open for a potential return down the road that we can look forward to, hopefully. But this one really hurts. Man, two of the biggest breakout characters, two of the biggest breakout stars that we had in the company all last year. Mike Bennett had the feud of the year with EC3. Maria had perhaps one of, if not the most successful storyline with this Allie thing that got Allie as over as anybody in the company right now. Now we're not even going to really get to see the payoff with Allie and Maria. And it's just, oh, man. Maybe this was another case of certain contracts just kind of falling through the cracks because they expired around the same time as the new regime was taken over. I think that's kind of what the situation was with the Hardys. But, man, to lose Mike Bennett and Maria, this is a real kick in the nuts. It really is. I don't know how you can sugarcoat this. Those two are going to be damn near impossible to replace. There's just no way around it.
I agree. You know, you still need characters in wrestling, and these two, as far as talking, I think they were two of the 5-6 best in the entire industry. Like I said, anything Maria was touching was going to gold. This is a former Knockouts champ. She was head of the Knockout. I mean, her and Allie, Allie and Maria, this angle went on for so long. And now they finally pull the trigger, and there's going to be no payoff because we don't get Maria. We don't get to see Allie get her revenge on Maria. Mike Bennett, the guy could have been the world champ. The guy was a breakout. ROH had no goddamn idea what they were doing with the guy, and that showed when he came over to TNA. You're going to put him in WWE and write him a bunch of crappy, promos for him? He's not going to thrive there. He's probably not going to thrive in NXT because he's probably going to get treated the same way he got treated with New Japan and ROH. It sucks. I think Mike Bennett belongs in Impact Wrestling. I think Maria Kanellis Bennett belongs in Impact Wrestling, and I think it's a huge loss. And yeah, look, there's a lot of things that is saying, look, Dixie Carter was handing out money in these contracts that it just wasn't going to be able to be done again. But look, we just lost Drew. We lost Mike and Maria, which is a terrible loss. And look, they just suffered the biggest loss they probably could have had. Matt and Jeff Hardy, the Broken Hardys, are gone. And so, like, I don't know. Rumor was that the Hardys were housing them to get their contracts. There was a deal in place for a 1-year contract, and then they were calling the contracts were late, and then apparently TNA sends them over an offer for a contract to sign, but they say it's for 2 years, not 1 year. Long story short, guys, Matt and Jeff are gone. They never came back to drop the TNA tag team titles, and last night in the Hammerstein Ballroom, the Broken Hardys, the TNA tag team champions, defeated the Bucks of Youth and became the Ring of Honor tag team champions. They have signed with Ring of Honor for what is apparently the biggest contract in Ring of Honor history, so I'm assuming it's around $23,000 a year per people. They're making McDonald's money now. Broken Hardys are gone. FK9, what you got on this?
Well, if the biggest breakout character last year wasn't Mike Bennett and Maria, or possibly Rosemary or Allie, then it was Broken Matt. And, well, easily the biggest, most talked about thing in wrestling right now. And this hurts in a lot of ways. Most obviously, if they want to start touring again pretty soon, how the hell are they going to draw a crowd without the Hardys? Beats me. Also unknown right now is what the hell are they going to do about this tag title situation? Are they going to have to negotiate one more appearance for Matt and Jeff where they drop the titles to somebody? Are they going to have to create new championships? Who the hell knows? But yeah, that's another kick in the nuts right there. Although just in the interest of examining both sides of this, an argument can be made that maybe the Hardys were getting a little bit too big for their britches there, because we heard there were rumblings of them wanting like total creative control over how they get booked and how they get written. You know, and after what the company went through with Hogan and that whole fiasco, they'd be absolutely out of their minds to let anybody have creative control again. So that could have been a sign that their egos were starting to get the best of them a little bit, possibly. And also, you know, the whole Expedition of Gold thing, as entertaining as it wasn't really doing anything for anybody except Matt and Jeff. So had they reached a point where they were starting to go into business for themselves at the expense of the company? I don't know. And no one can really answer that except them, I guess. But yeah, it's another huge loss. And it's another one that's going to be really, really damn hard to replace. Just the loss in star power alone, I don't know how you recover from that. I'm sure that, you know, we're seeing the taping results and they're trying hard, but this is going to be a tough one to get through.
It's really unfortunate how, when you look at the history of Impact in the past few years, there's like a black cloud following it, and whenever things are starting to look up, they take another blow. It's like that guy in the end of Pineapple Express that keeps getting shot. Remember Red? Guy who keeps falling asleep. They just keep taking these blows, and it sucks. And when you think like the worst possible scenario for them at this point to the public, when it comes to the public's perception, not the actual ratings, which I'll get to in a second, the biggest loss would be the Hardys, only because how are they going to go on tour? Just like you said before, how are they going to go on tour? It's a big blow, but Brother Underdude, you make some good points there. It is refreshing for the company. You know, the regime probably wants to go in more of an old school way and just the zany, wacky stuff. I do think eventually in time it could have gotten stale. It was really all about them. It did more for them on the indies than it did for Impact Wrestling. You know, they made a ton of money. And if you're a Ring of Honor fan and you're at a show chanting "fuck TNA" while at the same time, like, you're just so into the Hardys gimmick, like, just remember, dude, Impact gave them. I was saying dude to the people, not you. Just remember that Impact gave them that platform to do this, and none of this would even be possible without Impact Wrestling. You know, Impact took a risk putting this on TV, and it did get over. But maybe it's refreshing for the company for them to go. In some ways, you know, you can't just be down about it. you got to find some positive in it. It does suck, but maybe it could be refreshing for the brand. But when you look at the ratings, this stuff really didn't do much for it. They're still stuck in that bubble, and I wonder if this is going to really affect the ratings moving forward, or a lot of the people watching this stuff were watching it on the internet, and I think that's another thing. I feel like the internet really affects television and cable TV and the ratings these days, especially professional wrestling. I mean, you could just go on Daily Motion the next day. You don't have to tune in that night. There are so many alternatives. But I think it could be refreshing. It sucks, but we just got to make the best of it, right? I mean, that's kind of the story of this company in the past few years, unfortunately. But hopefully things will look up. But, thank the Hardys for all that good stuff they gave us. I feel like this run with Impact will be remembered for a long time. People will not forget this. This was something that really just out of nowhere came in professional wrestling, and it'll be remembered, and I think it'll never be the same. I feel like it's going to jump the shark moving forward. It just won't be the same. I don't know if you guys will agree with that. And we'll see what's going to happen when McMahon puts his touches on it, By then, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be beat to death, like that one nasty whore you went to high school with that everybody fucked. By the end, it's just going to be beat to death. But Impact had it in its prime, and sayonara, Hardys. I know somewhere Chef was dancing. Chef got up that morning, read the news. I think you all could agree on that. Chef was dancing around his house once he heard the news. We know Chef has been so vocal in his displeasure, how much he hated the broken gimmick. So Chef won. Chef got something good out of this.
Yeah, if you think he's happy now, just wait until he sees what ROH does with it. Because ROH isn't gonna want to roll with this broken character or the gimmick. They're gonna do what ROH always does. They're gonna take it and they're gonna suck every single molecule of personality and character and charisma out of the broken Matt character until he's just like everybody else on the damn roster, because that's what they do with everyone in ROH. We said Vince McMahon would ruin the broken Matt character. Well, ROH is no better. They might take it in like the exact opposite direction. Vince wouldn't know what to do with it. ROH is probably just going to want to do away with it entirely.
Yeah, FK9, you really hit what I wanted to say there too. Is, I mean, of all the play, look, they could have took it to WWE and Vince would have had his shitty writers all over it and ruined it. But look, Ring of Honor will just suck the life out of it. I mean, prime example. Bad Influence, did they book them better than TNA has? Absolutely. I hope Christopher Daniels becomes World Heavyweight Champion there in Ring of Honor. They literally did not let the Addiction, a.k.a. Bad Influence, do anything like what they did in TNA, which made them such an amazing act. And for fuck's sake, they literally just split them up so they could put my man Kazarian in this stupid Bullet Club shit so they can keep this clusterfuck going on because it's not old and beat to death with this stupid Bullet Club thing. It just... I think they made the wrong decision. And look, this has literally been the staple of TNA since 2010. Just people up and leave in the middle of shit, and they don't really do the right thing to write them off of TV, and it sucks. And you're thinking, what the hell happened? Galloway wasn't written off properly. Mike and Maria weren't. And now, I mean, look, this Expedition of Gold, it's like we're strapped dead in the middle. And, to be honest, Ring of Honor has been WWE's bitch for a long time. If you don't think that the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions and the Broken Hardys are going to do something so the WWE can reap the benefits of this, you're out of your mind. There will be a relationship between the two. I guarantee you will see the Hardys while working for Ring of Honor not only do stuff with New Japan, because Lord knows they got a job to some 5'3" midgets at some point to make the other company look better, but they're going to do the same thing with the WWE. The star power that they lost with the Hardys, you cannot replace that at all. And that's the worst thing. TNA has lost every ounce of star power that they had, and these were the last two, and it's gone. This is what makes me scared about the company. But I'm not going to shit on this Broken Hardys gimmick. I'm not going to shit on that. I love Jeff Hardy to death. I have been a Jeff Hardy mark forever. So thank you, Drew Galloway. You gave 100% every night out, and you were having the best matches on anyone on that roster and anyone in the entire industry. Thank you, Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis Bennett, for your year plus with Impact Wrestling. It has been an honor. Thank you, Broken Matt. I was very negative on Matt Hardy from the start. Matt Hardy, you totally turned it around. And especially out of everyone, thank you, Jeff Hardy, for the risks, for the great matches. Man, Jeff Hardy came into TNA in 2010, and I thought he was going to be the game changer. There was no one as hot in pro wrestling other than John Cena as Jeff Hardy was at that time, and it's a damn shame that it didn't go anywhere. We watched Jeff Hardy go through substance abuse, come back stronger, clean, sober, change things around. We watched the audience die, and Jeff Hardy still just put his body on the line and do some crazy stunts. And so, Hardys, thank you very much. We lost the star power guys in TNA. I wasn't going to bring this up, but TNA has announced this. It is news now in a way to try and gain the only star power out there. Alberto Del Rio, a.k.a. Alberto El Patron, is now signed with Impact Wrestling.
I'm a fan of Alberto. I've always been. I think he's a great wrestler. I think he's a great entertainer as well. Big fan of the guy, so this is just plus for me. I'm into it. And I also, one thing that sticks out in my mind is, that like Paige has her issues with that Connecticut outfit all up north. And I think if Alberto has like a successful run with Impact and everything's good and, he has a good relationship, it kind of opens a door for us to see Paige in the Knockouts division somewhere down the line. And I think that would be awesome. I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I would be very into that. But I'm a fan of Alberto, so to me, this is good stuff. But you mentioned the deal and what we could have did with that deal. I know we're probably going to talk about it, but there were reports that deal was supposed to be for Bully Ray. Like, what the fuck? And we'll get more into Bully Ray later into the show. But thumbs up for me for Alberto. I'm into it.
Raven just mentioned the Hardys being gone and that being the last of the star power that had left. And I guess this is meant to replace that somehow by bringing in additional star power. But my question is, what star power? The guy had 2 runs in WWE, never really got over all that well. The fans never really took to him that much. Supposedly, he's had been kind of a toxic presence. I mean, by all accounts, Paige was a model employee before she hooked up with him, and now she's been with him for a while now, and suddenly she's one wellness policy violation away from getting her walking papers. And it seems like you can't go more than a couple of weeks without hearing some kind of news about him getting into a bar fight or getting stabbed or getting thrown in jail for one thing or another. The guy obviously has a ton of baggage and none of it good. And is this really the kind of person that you want to put on your roster when you're trying to rebuild it? And you're trying to expunge all the toxicity that came with the previous regime? Is this really the kind of thing you want to be doing? Bringing in a guy that might just bring more toxicity with him? I don't know. It seems like kind of an ill-advised decision to me. I don't know if he's a guy that's really going to move the needle all that much, if or at all. But I would love to see Paige in the knockout division if that were a possibility. She's still contracted to WWE, so don't get your hopes up. But I don't know. I've never really been that into the guy. I mean, his ring announcer got over more than he did in WWE. So I don't know if there's any actual star power, quote unquote, there to glean from him. I guess we'll see. But they're definitely hyping this guy up as like a game changer. I don't know if they use those exact words. I don't agree with that. I don't know if a game changer really exists at this point, but love it or hate it, he's coming. So we got to make the most of it.
I think the game changer that they need is too busy getting beat up in UFC.
Very true. Paige with the dick. That is. You know what? I hated Alberto Del Rio in the WWE when I was still watching it. When he won that 40-man Royal Rumble and went to WrestleMania, I was just disgusted because when I saw this guy, I thought they literally were like, go rip off Razor Ramon, Carlito, JBL, and Ted DiBiase and we'll make you a star. And they forced the guy down the throat so bad. And like when he was a free agent, I just didn't care. I had no love till I saw him in Ring of Honor. And I saw his promo when he first got into Lucha Underground, and I watched him wrestle, and I thought, wow, this dude is actually very talented. And I would have loved to see him in TNA. That said, this guy's been a cancer and a head case, and I'm not going to backtrack just because now he's in TNA and say, oh, it's great now. He has a potential for it to be great, but he literally, I mean, this guy's getting in fights everywhere he goes. He's getting arrested everywhere he goes. It sounds like he's dragged this Paige girl down. I don't know anything about her because I haven't watched WWE in years. But it's just, if this guy cannot be a head case or a cancer, because that's what it seems like he is, then it's a terrible move. However, if they fix it, fine. If he can get his shit together. I've heard a rumor that like a drug test is in his contract. I'm not buying it by any means. But I mean, look, Raven Effect has had some substance abuse issues in his life, and it kind of seems like that's exactly what's going on with this guy. And I'm not going to speculate or say anything. I mean, maybe he's better, cleaned up, whatnot. But I mean, he's got to fix this. And also, just to clarify last week, because I know we had the CM Punk raining in tons of wrestling ass. Both Beth Phoenix and Lita, CM Punk also banged. Those were left off. I don't know why banging just came into my mind and CM Punk and his woman, but we did bring it up. And look, Alberto El Patron could be something great. I don't know that he's star power like FK9 said, but he could be a great addition to Impact, and we'll see. But yeah, so there was rumor that this contract that he got and this role that he got was first supposed to be to Drew Galloway, but Drew left Impact. One rumor I heard about Drew leaving Impact was because the contract offer was literally 2 days later than he expected it. The other was that it was supposed to go to Bully Ray. I have no idea why or how and what TNA was thinking. But apparently there was something that fell through. And not only did the Hardys end up in TNA or in Ring of Honor last night, but Mr. Bubba Ray, Bully Ray, whatever the fuck he's going to be called, showed up in Ring of Honor, mentioned the fact that he was going to sign with a certain company, but he got the Ring of Honor offer. And so, of course, he blew off that company, which led to the fuck TNA chants. And Bully Ray shuns, or possibly shuns, we don't really know the whole story, basically doesn't go to Impact and signs with Ring of Honor.
What do I have to say about Bully Ray? Good fucking riddance. That's what I had to say about Bully Ray. They took this guy out of a tag team, made him a main eventer, built the entire freaking Aces and Eights storyline. It was like, 18 months long or something like that. Built that entire storyline around him, made him the world champion. Later on, they let him put the owner of the company through a table, for crying out loud. And then a matter of months later, he's gone and bashing the company on his way out. I have no idea why they would even want this guy back. All I care about is that for whatever reason, the deal fell through. It didn't work. Did he screw them over? Who the hell knows? Frankly, I don't care. He's signed with ROH. You know what? Good for him. Good for them. Let him be their problem for a while. And while they're at it, fucking sign Velvet Sky too, so we don't have to fucking deal with her anymore. Good fucking riddance to both of them.
If she's got that, I call it the McDonald's look. It's like when, any girl gets, bleached blonde hair and fake tits and, ass implants, it's in a ton of makeup. It's just such a fucking cheap look. Dude, I don't even think she's that hot, bro. She's fucking, ugh. You know what? Bully Ray, he was a great heel. I'm not going to take that away from him. It's funny because, Impact is the only company that, took a chance when McMahon would have never did that, dude. McMahon didn't believe in him. After the Dudleys finished, I don't know if any of you guys were watching WWF at the time, he just fell off into obscurity. And Impact, TNA, is the company that took a chance with him and let him, apply his craft, and they gave him the top heel role, and he did great with it, and I won't take that away from him, but he's not the guy they need right now. He's going to come in, suck up a ton of money. I think it's disgusting how he could go and badmouth them on another show. And here's something, guys. I don't know. We might get sued for me saying this, but, this is the Heelcast. I'm a heel. So Bully is getting his own radio show on Sirius XM called Bully Radio. I believe the announcement is going to be tomorrow. And I encourage all listeners to call in because he's going to take calls and prank call that motherfucker. Call in, get on the air, and fuck with Bully Ray because He's a fucking piece of shit, and I am glad he's not on our TV screen. Because apparently they had main event plans for him, and that just wouldn't be the guy. See, one thing that strikes me about this new regime, and I don't know if I like it, check this out. I'm 50-50 about it. You would expect him to come in and build something new, but it's almost like instead of building something new, they're just trying to recapture the Spike show at its like peak. Because like think about it, they got Dutch, they got Jeff, they even got the guy Kevin Sullivan that was the main producer at the time. They were going to bring Bully in as the top heel apparently, according to these rumors. So it's like they're almost trying to just recreate Spike in its prime when you would think they want to create something totally new. So I'm a little confused there, but I am I do believe in this new regime. I am pretty excited with some of the things I've heard, and I can't wait to see how they play out. But man, fuck Bully Ray. Like I said, call into his radio show and prank call him. Plug the Heelcast.
Hell yeah. Prank that motherfucker. Call the Heelcast, or plug the Heelcast, plug Kingdom Mountain, plug Impact. Bully Ray, literally since you left TNA, you were actually, while you were with TNA, you and your shitbag girlfriend were bashing the company that paid your bills. Excuse me, y'all. And, you know, for some reason, they still, even after you went into business for yourself at the end of Bound for Glory, still took you back with open arms for that stupid law angle. And then you bashed them again. And we all remember Slammiversary in your comment. Here's the thing. Dixie Carter's not there anymore. TNA wasn't bending over backwards to give you everything that you wanted with your high little demands, and it probably ticked your ass off a little bit. And I'm sorry that TNA probably this time around didn't want to accept your piece of trailer trash with fake tits and a passed around pussy to come back around too. So you go sign with Ring of Honor. And Ring of Honor, of course, allows you to go out and to say what you said. And of course, you get the little ROH smarks, these little fucking douchebags. They can't get over stuff that happened, I don't know, over 12 years ago, but are too stupid to realize that TNA isn't the enemy, that it's actually the WWE. But you get the little smarks going, fuck TNA, fuck TNA, fuck TNA, because who knows? They have no lives. Literally, they live for wrestling and for your shows.
Dude, they gave Bully, sorry to cut you off real quick, they gave Bully a general manager role in 2015. Remember that? For no reason. They didn't need him on TV. For out of nowhere, they brought him back for a run of episodes. You know he was getting paid well for them and made him a general manager. They didn't have to do that. They employed the guy just because, you know, they like him and this is what he does. Like, that's a fucking snake, man. Fuck that guy. He's just in business for himself. He doesn't, you know, he's not doing it for the love. And that's not the person I'd want on my team.
He is. And this is what pisses me off, is that Ring of Honor knows what he's going to go out there and say, and they allow him to go out there and say that. TNA was actually just working with Ring of Honor again. Finally something was happening to where they were going to do this thing with the Hardys and the Young Bucks and whatnot. But they let Bully Ray go out there and they say, then they get their little smart fans chanting, fuck TNA, fuck TNA. Here's the thing, Ring of Honor, since July of last year, your product has been unwatchable. It has been absolute dog shit. Terrible. But your little smart crowd that'll do anything that you tell them to do because they're so loyal, because literally they live for pro wrestling, and they think just because they get this little cheap ass underground looking shit with some good pro wrestling, I'm not going to take that away, because you got New Japan, which is super relevant to anywhere other than Japan, and for the 15 smarks that turn in on Sinclair Broadcasting every week and cheering ROH in front of their TV with their fat fucking face and their popcorn. It's just, your smart crowd just ruined your company for me forever. I'm not even kidding. They're mad because back in 2002 or 2003, TNA took AJ, Joe, and Daniels from their company. You're seriously, like, get over it. It's so irrelevant now because TNA fell off. ROH fans are still so mad and bitter because TNA has fallen off so bad over the past 6-7 years, and Ring of Honor is still by far number 3. You're still bitter over that. You're still salty over that. You want to be number 2? What fucking retard fan base competes to be like, hey, we're number 2, we're number 2, we're number 2? Fuck you. You're idiots. Seriously. It's the most ridiculous shit. And you know what? Like, all you do with Ring of Honor, your little Ring of Honor smarts and Bully Ray, you don't fit in there, dude. You're just going to go out and job to all these New Japan talents that are 5'4". I mean, have fun putting over 75-year-old Jushin Thunder Liger. Seriously, give me a break. It's just Ring of Honor fans, Ring of Honor wrestling, Ring of Honor is so happy being WWE's bitch, it's pathetic. And the Ring of Honor smart fans think TNA is the enemy, think Impact Wrestling is the enemy. No, you dumb fucks. The enemy is the WWE. The WWE is the one that goes and pries away all your top talent. That's why Adam Cole, baby, is finally going to go get his shot in NXT in the minor leagues. That's why half of your top talent is over there. You idiots think Kyle O'Reilly is something great. You people think Bobby Fish is the next Hulk Hogan, for Christ's sake. Kyle O'Reilly's boring ass and Bobby Fish are like the next big thing, and it's sad. It's seriously. So here's the thing. I've tried watching Ring of Honor a couple of times now. Since July, and I couldn't do it. But I never watched Ring of Honor through September, through January when football season's on. I don't have time. I don't. Right? Literally yesterday, before all this news break, I recorded Ring of Honor after UFC. I was going to watch the UFC fights, and I was going to watch Ring of Honor, and I was going to start trying to give Ring of Honor a chance again because it's been too long. After last night, after the fuck TNA chants from your little fans, your smart fans, they have ruined your company for me forever. Our Ring of Honor, you have lost a fan in me. I will never support your product. I will never watch your product again because I will not associate with this garbage fan base, with these smarky little nerdy idiots. And I'm sorry, don't mean to say it, but fuck you, Ring of Honor, fuck your fans. And good luck to Christopher Daniels. I hope you become the world champion. Bullet Club. Anyways, we're going to move on to Jade. Jade is gone too. Now, she did say on MVP's podcast she does have a offer from Impact Wrestling on the table to re-sign, but that she's weighing her options. FK9, you're a knockouts guy. What are your thoughts on Jade departing and possibly coming back? All this.
Well, Gail Kim says this person is the future of the knockout division, and a couple months later, she's gone. Wow. That kind of sucks. So, yeah, it really is, God, another case of piss poor timing, how they're finally really starting to do something with Jade, finally really starting to build her up after all this time. Again, yeah, they kind of dropped the ball on her in the dollhouse where she was losing handicap matches to Gail Kim every week, and they dropped the ball on her during her Knockouts Championship reign, where they were focusing on Gail Kim all the time, and Jade was shoved into the background, and then the whole last summer, they really weren't doing anything with her. But this feud with Rosemary, they were finally starting to build her up. And yeah, she came out on the losing end of 3 matches, but this was the kind of feud that elevates both people, even the loser. And she was finally really starting to look like she was living up to the potential that a lot of people saw in her, saying, yeah, this could be the next Gail Kim. She could do it. She could be the new workhorse. And now maybe she's gone. Oh God, I'm gonna hold out hope that maybe she's just weighing her options right now and she chooses to come back, because God, it's another loss that's really hard to replace from a ring work standpoint, because she was probably the best worker they had after Gail, and also they really haven't built up a whole many other knockouts right now, and they're in a position where they have to revamp the whole division again. So losing someone like Jade, that hurts. I do, however, think it's not a loss that's going to kill them in the long run, because as much as Gail might have wanted people to believe that Jade was the future of the knockout division, look, I love Jade to death, but I disagree with that. The future wasn't Jade. The future is Rosemary and Allie. So I think ultimately they're going to be all right, but I definitely hope that Jade decides to come back because she's got a lot of unfinished business.
You all made great points there. I'm a Jade fan, but it's not going to kill them. Just like everybody said, it's not going to kill them if she doesn't come back. I feel like these 1-year deals really hurt them, 1-2-year deals, because it's like, we always have to deal with this. Like any good businesswoman, she's going to weigh her options and see if there's any entry into the golden gates of McMahon. Can't blame her for that. Most wrestlers get trained to go to that company. I understand. But she's great in the ring, probably one of the best female wrestlers in the world, I would say that, but not very good on the microphone, in my own opinion. I think she's got a whole lot of work to do when it comes to cutting promos. Her matches were great, though. we'll get to it later, man. That last woman knockout standing. I wonder if we're going to drop knockout for women, but that's a discussion for another time. But she's just the workhorse. She is the female workhorse of the company. Her and Rosemary really should be, the knockouts of this generation. Two tremendous talents, along with Allie. All of them should be leading it moving forward, and I think they should do everything they can to get her back. But if she goes, whatever. It's not going to kill the company.
I'll be honest, she's a good wrestler. I have no emotional attachment to Jade at all. Does not bother me. I think her and Rosemary just had some really good matches. I think she has more potential than what she kind of shined as. Maybe she'll come back. That'd be cool. If not, sorry, Jade. I wish you the best of luck. Nothing there for me.
I'm going to kick your ass, bitch. Come out here, Red. And she's always got awkward facials when she's talking. Like, she's not good with the facial expressions when she's on the mic. Like, she's
awkward facials. What is this? A Hurls? A Hurls show now?
Awkward facials. You know what I'm saying? Like, her facial expressions. Like she's just kind of awkward on the mic. Like she's forcing it. Yo, come out here, bitch! I'm gonna kick your ass, Red. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, she doesn't have mic skills. She needs to work on that. But she's a tremendous talent in the ring. One of the best female wrestlers in the world.
I won't take that from her. She's a great in-ring wrestler, and her and Rosemary, literally, best matches in TNA so far this year has been Jade and Rosemary, probably all three of them. And I'm not talking knockouts either. I'm talking entirely. But let's go to that match. No, actually, you know what? Let's not go to that match because we got one last bit of news. So, Spike TV has taken TNA Impact Wrestling back. However, Spike TV UK. So Impact Wrestling got a UK TV deal with Spike TV UK. Big. I don't know how this channel works. I don't know if it's going to be pay-per TV or whatnot. But FK9, what are your thoughts on this one?
As far as I know, the Spike UK is a smaller channel, so I wouldn't expect them to get the same viewership they had on the previous one. But hey, any kind of UK TV deal is better than none. And I think it's kind of funny how they made this happen so fast, because that was a crushing blow when they lost it. And Dixie Carter, the person that we always hyped up as like, the one thing that she's good at is the international stuff, is getting international TV deals and whatnot. Well, for some reason, she couldn't seem to make a new UK TV deal happen. And now here's Anthem taking over, and in a matter of weeks, they've got a new UK TV deal go in the works. And now we're hearing stuff about how Jeff Jarrett's talking to Spike TV officials about getting them back on Spike in the US and stuff too. And it's nice to hear good news for a change. Good Lord. But yeah, like I said, even if it's a smaller UK channel, which I believe it is, hey, it's better than nothing. And it's nice to see that that needle moving in a positive direction for a change.
Aside from all these roster cuts, Anthem really has been making moves. Like, when you look past all that, they have been doing things. I think, like, the second week they were in office, there was some sort of report about Hulu. I don't know if that's come about yet. But they got all the tapings scheduled. It's not last minute, Everything's looking good, aside from all the roster cuts. But with this, the UK fans really proved how cheap they are. Nobody wanted to shell out for an app. So luckily they are going back to TV. And of all networks, good old Spike TV, where they have such a long history with. I don't know how big Spike is in the UK, but if it's anything like it is here in the US, it's definitely a big deal.
Now, this is Sunday night. Walking Dead is going to be on pretty soon, and the RAV he's pretty excited to watch some Walking Dead. So I'm going to say this right now when we're talking about this, and I would have done this last week, and this is exactly my word. So I'm going to quote Negan here, and I'm going to shut that shit down right now. Look, guys, everyone wants TNA back on Spike TV in the US. This company, these ratings, dude, they are not even getting like a solid 300,000. They were getting almost 2 million on Spike. They've lost all these viewers for a reason, and it's hard to gain them back. And it's not just on Pop TV. I don't see how Spike TV would say, let's take this expensive ass product, something that is expensive to produce, and let's expect them, while they're getting $300,000 in a market that's dying, not only cable but pro wrestling, it's not what it used to be, and let's bring that shit back and pump a bunch of money back into it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna look. Wishful thinking. I hope it happens. Jeff and Anthem are trying, and that's awesome. But I'm shutting that shit down and saying, don't get your hopes up, and don't, like, come on, man. This company can't afford fucking Drew Galloway. I mean, give me a break. But let's move on. Let's go to something a little bit more positive here. So we talked about the Rosemary and Jade match. Kyle, what were your thoughts on this last knockout standing here as we saw Rosemary get the victory?
Oh, man, I mean, you don't even have to ask, dude. This is, I'm going to say, one of the matches of the year instantly. Instantly, to me, one of the all-time matches of the year. You got Rosemary and Jade, they've had such a long story together. I don't know if this is my favorite match in the series because there's just been so many good ones. Like, I don't think they had any stinkers. Really love this match. Those power bombs, dude. Jesus Christ. I mean, you guys go on. I mean, what is there to say about this match? Just we could sit here all day and talk about how great it is.
Rosemary and Jade have had 3 matches in this feud. Any one of them could have been knockout match of the year. I think the first one definitely was, but because that was last year. But if I had one complaint, and this is really me nitpicking at this point, but one complaint is that there wasn't a ton of storyline continuity between the first 2 and the third one. Because between the first one and the second one, you saw how in the first match, Rosemary did a couple things to Jade, and then in the second match, Jade had those particular moves scouted. It didn't fall for him a second time, but she still lost in the end. So I was hoping that would carry over, and we'd see like the next step in that process there. But they kind of abandoned that for the third one, which I don't understand why. So, like I said, just little nitpick there, but I only bring it up because this feud was really light on story in general. It's really just match, promo, match, and that's it. But what is there to complain about when you're getting matches like this? There's really nothing. I mean, Rosemary got power bombed on the steel steps, power bombed on a trash can. Jade took 3 red weddings on the mat, on the floor, on the stage. These girls really beat the hell out of each other, and these are not knockout matches you see every day. And like I said, these matches have been so good. This is the kind of feud that really elevates both girls regardless of who wins. And this is why I think it kind of sucks that we're losing Jade right now, just when she was really starting to cook and look like a real contender for the title. And it's another example of why Rosemary has been such a good knockouts champion, the most interesting knockouts champion in friggin' ages, because with her as the champ, we get feuds like this. And it was a great capper to the feud. I just think it kind of sucks that we're losing Jade right now, but it's made Rosemary look like $1 million, and it's going to be kind of hard to follow up on this. Over to you, Raven.
Yeah. My God, these chat windows today. These, like I said, these have been the best matches I've seen this entire set of tapings. I mean, the Moose and Mike Bennett stuff was good, and then Rosemary and Jade, and then I'll keep it real, guys. Like I've hated these past set of tapings, and I'm so glad that this is the end of it. I really, these have been the saving grace, but yeah, I mean, the feud hasn't really gotten me that over. I mean, look, Rosemary gets everything over, and her and Jade have had some great matches, and they have great chemistry together, and I've enjoyed these matches a lot. And it's sad to see Jade go because we're not going to get another one in that aspect, but great match. The only thing I really didn't like was, I mean, those red weddings, like she hit 3 on the fucking ramp, and it's like Jade was still almost beating her up to the 10 count at one point before crashing back down. I don't think that it made it really put over her finishing move to look like as solid as it was, because after the third one you would expect Jade to lay there limp and dead. But I'm not going to knock that. And I'm going to bounce to this other knockout segment I kind of forgot to mention, but, we saw Laurel Van Ness hanging out in her wedding dress with a bottle of champagne, crying her blues away. I thought it was, it seems like it was pretty funny stuff. If it were real life, I'd feel bad for the poor girl. She'd probably be in a deep state of depression. FK9, what do you think of the Laurel Van Ness thing?
This made me feel really bad. Who the hell has been putting alcohol in the sexy giraffe's water dish? This is animal cruelty, goddammit. This was funny. LVN continues to impress me with her character work. Not only has she been really good as the spoiled rich bitch character, she's funny too, and she proved it here. This was some really funny stuff. She got jilted at the altar, and now she's this sobbing drunken wreck a week later. I don't know if it's going to get her. I don't know how this is getting her over, except making her look like kind of a fool. But it's fucking entertaining. Yeah, you get her makeup all smeared, and she's just passed out on the floor and drinking right from the bottle. She's a fucking mess. It's actually really entertaining. Gail Kim wishes she had this kind of entertainment value. I mean, yeah, great wrestler, but stuff like this has never been Gail's wheelhouse. Here it is, LVN, this rookie, and yeah, she is still a rookie coming in, and she's really embraced this stuff. I'm becoming more and more a fan of hers because of stuff like this. And I can't wait to see where they go with it next. The only problem is that they didn't have Allie on the show to really follow up on that, which I thought was nuts. When you have her go over huge, get this like massive reaction in the wedding segment last week. This week, Allie's not even on the show. You couldn't even get her in front of the crowd a little bit to get that huge pop like she'd get. It seemed like a real missed opportunity to me to not have Allie on the show. But to at least follow up on it with LVN in that segment, that was some entertaining stuff.
Segment was, not just a segment. The whole show was kind of bittersweet to me because it's like I really enjoyed a lot of it, but certain things just like this angle, because of what happened with all the roster cuts, you're never really going to know how exactly it was supposed to play out. I mean, Maria's just out of nowhere. But in the dress, drunk, hilarious, man. Like, I wonder how long are they going to keep her like this? Like, was that just for this episode, or are they going to continue on for a few and she's just going to turn into this fucking drunk, delusional monster? Hilarious, dude. This stuff is great. But like I said, kind of bittersweet that, whatever it was, you're not going to see exactly what it was intended to be.
LVN, Laurel Van Ness. Sorry things didn't work out with Braxton, but all I have to say really is, if you need someone, I got a decrepit erection and a face you can sit on any day. So speaking of face you can sit on any day, Cody and Brandi Rhodes kind of have a thing where they're married and Cody's kind of jealous of Moose talking to his woman. And so we got this fight with. So there's the big brawl between Cody Rhodes and Moose, which should be leading up to a match between the two of them.
So I guess this is why they had Brandi make Rosemary look bad in that mixed tag match, so they could set up Cody turning heel on Moose. I think it was incredibly stupid the way they set it up, but I'll take Brandi being used as an extension of Cody any day of the week over her being in the knockout division. It doesn't change my opinion on the Cody heel turn being kind of clumsily executed and, hastily as well. But this got over great. They brawled a little bit and then they stopped and Brandi's trying to come between them and then Cody goes after him again. Then Moose dives over the rope over everybody. That's a huge man doing that. That's impressive every time I see it. So this was a case of the wrestlers elevating a storyline that had been kind of underwritten and probably not given the attention it really deserved by the creative team. So very surprisingly good segment here out of both of them. And I'm excited for the feud now. Really good stuff. I
really liked the way this segment played out. It just felt like total chaos. I think Cody is like fantastic out there on the microphone. Moose needs to brush up on his skills, but he's getting there, you know. Moose was very green when he was in Ring of Honor, and you see how good he's getting in the ring. Now I think the guy needs to work on his microphone skills. One thing that I don't know how I feel about is how Josh Matthews just like shook it off and got back to the, you know, booth. He literally just shook it off. Wasn't a big deal.
Never is for Josh Matthews. He's untouchable. I'm fine with the feud. Let's get to the match.
Hold on. Sorry to cut you off. Just want to let all the listeners know it's official. Goldberg just won the title.
Did he really?
That'll put butts in seats.
Him and Brock Lesnar headlining WrestleMania when, what was it?
It was 15 seconds. It was a 15-second one, too.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God.
Kill, Steen, kill.
WrestleMania? I didn't like it the first time.
Yeah, the first WrestleMania when they were both in their primes 13 years ago. He's going to get gassed at 51 because his skills were so great in his prime, too.
Dude, that was literally the way they built that title match up. Kevin Owens cut a promo on Goldberg saying, I don't have to beat you, I just have to run away from you until you get tired.
21 seconds, actually. It was 21 seconds.
Because Kevin Steen's fat ass can run away from anything.
Literally what he said, almost.
Oh, man. "21 seconds. And now he's going to wrestle Lesnar at WrestleMania. Wow, this is great job, guys.
And the marks will eat it up and think it's great.
You fed Kevin Steen, without a doubt, one of the best in the whole world. This guy is just, in my opinion, one of the best. And you feed him to a 55-year-old man that hasn't wrestled since 2003. And some would say he wasn't even that good then. Wow.
I'll tell you this.
According to ROH, TNA is the bad guy.
Fuck TNA! Fuck TNA! Fuck TNA!
Yeah.
All I'm going to say, guys, is this Lesnar versus Goldberg WrestleMania 33 headliner, it's going to blow the crap out of the Brock Lesnar Kurt Angle headliner, that's for sure. I swear to God, mark my words, this will be the worst WrestleMania main event of all time if these two are the headliner. The worst by far. Yeah. And Brock looks pregnant. Goldberg looks 51. And we'll move on. All I'm going to say, dude, is like, if anyone thinks in real life Cody's scrawny ass would stand a chance against Moose in a fight, you're out of your fucking mind. So speaking of someone who probably shouldn't stand a chance, Jesse Godder's James Storm has to use quite a bit of interference to beat Jesse Godder's. I don't know if it's a burial and non-pushing of the Cowboy James Storm or they see the world in Jesse Godder's. But Kyle, what were your thoughts on this one?
That damn mute button. That damn mute button. You know what? I'm really not too big on Jesse, to be honest. I don't know. I really got nothing to say for this segment. Skip me over. I got nothing.
Look, we've talked ad nauseum about how much Jesse Godder's has improved in the last year or so. He's getting good reactions as a babyface, so it's nice to see him getting some face time on the show and getting some wins under his belt. I don't like James Storm needing tons of interference just to beat a guy who is still an up-and-comer and still trying to prove himself, whereas where James Storm is a guy who should be in the main event mix, should be in the world title mix, should be the world champion right fucking now, for the love of God. # Storm for champ. At least Storm got the win, which is nice. So I guess they protected everybody, if that's what you want to call it. But this whole feud just screams, we have no plan for these guys. What are they doing with the DCC right now? They're feuding with Decay. Then they're taking out EC3. Then they can barely handle Tyrus. Then they're getting embarrassed by Jesse Godder's every week. what's going on? Is there any direction for these guys at all? I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. It kind of feels like they're just they become a victim of the Hardys being on the expedition of gold and therefore having no tag titles to fight over. So we got to find something else to do with these guys in the meantime. So we'll put them in a feud with Jesse Goddard from out of nowhere. Okay. I guess Decay are in the same boat right now. Neither team is looking so hot at the moment. But at least James Storm got a win here, which is cool. But I don't think that's going to lead to anything because I'm not seeing any signs that that the DCC have found any kind of a direction for the stable at all. So I kind of feel like they're just going to continue to tread water. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen when the new regime really kicks in next week. But I just hope and pray that James Storm has a few supporters on the new creative team because, my God, this guy is being wasted right now.
Yeah, I mean, you guys summed up pretty much everything I could say. Dude, they have dropped the ball and ruined this DCC thing terribly. Jesse, I think Jesse has potential. Working as a face, he's got to stay away from Robbie E. But dude, James Storm for champ, and this regime has had no faith. They buried him. Holy fuck! I cannot wait for the new regime to come in and start these new episodes. But I'm going to echo Chef. Chef last week said he didn't give a fuck about any X Division matches. He was ready to see Trevor Lee against Andrew Everett, and that's exactly how I felt. Trevor Lee retains. I think Andrew Everett did his job. I think Andrew Everett is showing that he can outshine Trevor Lee and that he's on the same level. X Division, decent length time for the match.
You know, regardless of what Shane Helms would have us believe about how Everett blowing every opportunity he's been given so far, this is really his first one, let's be honest. And the guy is just taking the ball and running with it. He's getting over really well as a babyface. The crowd's taken to him immediately. He's working his ass off, as we saw in this match. This guy was flying all over the fucking place. Dives to the outside, moonsaults to the outside. That Hurricane Rana spot that looks like it friggin' murdered Trevor Lee. Good God, he sold the hell out of that. But Andrew Everett's really breaking out in a big way pretty quickly here. And I definitely agree. I want to see him as the X Division champion in the not too distant future. I wouldn't say no to playing the option C card with him in a couple of months if they wanted to go that route. That'd be fine with me. But yeah, it's nice to see an actual feud in the X Division, nice one-on-one feud after that Team X Gold nonsense was just ended up wasting everybody's time. Still don't know what that was about. But yeah, we finally got a real title feud with the X Division. It's an exciting one. It still sucks that they broke up Lee and Everett before without really doing anything with them as a tag team at a time when they're really short on tag teams. But at least we're getting a killer feud out of it. This is good stuff.
I feel you there. FK9, you're right, dude. That Hurricane Rana was sick. That was badass. I don't know if that was a mistake or not, but it looked awesome. Andrew Everett, Shining Star, help you guy, wins the belt. Now, the Hardys win more. They win the Maryland Championship Wrestling World Tag Team Championships.
Oh, man, dude. This was great. Kind of sad, you know. This is probably, well, not probably, definitely the last Broken Brilliant segment we will ever see on Impact Wrestling TV. I may or may have not shed some manly Mark tears there. You know, that's my own personal business. I don't have to share that with any of you. But, man, this was great. They didn't show it in its entirety. But if you go to mcwragetv.com, I think they offer a 30-day free trial as well. They have the whole Broken Anniversary show right there. I'm probably going to go watch it. I didn't get a chance to. I want to check out the whole match. Probably see some of you in there and more camera shots. But, man, this was awesome, hilarious. In the market of fleas. We even got some fireworks at the end in classic Broken Brilliance fashion. This was great. It went out with a bang. You know, the Hardys went out on Impact one last time.
This Expedition of Gold stuff has been fantastic. It's been something different that you don't really see anywhere else on any other show. The Hardys have come off like huge stars, and I've always been a proponent of thinking outside the box in wrestling. So anything that is new and different, I'm usually going to be on board with. And the segments have been very well produced, very entertaining stuff. I've gotten a kick out of them. This one was really cool because they brought a little bit of the final deletion in there with the Roman candles shooting fireworks at those two guys before they finished the match. I love this segment. Once again, it's one of the best things on the show. However, just to again look at the other side of things, the impression I got watching this, knowing that this was the last time we were going to see the Hardys on the show, at least for right now, is, as good as this stuff has been, who is it really helping? Is it benefiting anyone but Matt and Jeff? Not really. They're doing great, but in a way, this is a kind of a self-serving angle, because while they're doing this really cool stuff, you got the rest of the tag team division, and by that I mean the Decay and the DCC, with nothing to do, and they're kind of languishing and just stuck in these filler/jobber spots because they can't go for the tag titles right now because the Hardys aren't on the show. So while the Hardys are doing great, the tag team division is kind of suffering. And so it's kind of a double-edged sword here, where it's good for what's good for the Hardys is not necessarily good for everybody else. And that's one thing you can take away from this is, we're losing the biggest star power that you had in the company, but you're also getting your tag team division back into a healthier place. And I guess that's one silver lining there if you want to see it.
This is just a frustrating thing. It's like we're dead set in the middle of this expedition of gold, and this was the last time we saw the Hardys on TNA TV. Done. LOL TNA. Stupid. Really stupid. Very cool that Brother Underscore was there live and in person for what turned out to be the last appearance for the Hardys in TNA Impact Wrestling. Thank you, Matt Hardy. Thank you, Jeff Hardy. Thank you, Rebby. On behalf of Chef, fuck you, Matt Hardy. But it's disappointing, and life goes on, I guess. Speaking of last appearances in the company, so Moose, big news. I mean, it's big. Moose recaptures the Grand Championship. Drew Galloway loses, drops the belt. All I'm going to say here is it was a bad way to send off Drew Galloway. For one, there's no silver lining that shows, hey, this guy's gone from the company. And truthfully, they knew the position that they were in. Why in the living hell does it end in a split decision? Have Moose break this guy and get the pin 1, 2, 3. FK9, what were your thoughts on this one?
My thoughts are I'm not really paying attention to the points anymore. I've just kind of tuned that out. If they're not really going to make an effort to make that a compelling part of this 3-round structure, then I'm not really going to pay attention. I just listen to, who won this round? Who won that round? This guy? Okay, so that guy needs to win the other one to try this out for 3 rounds. That's what I'm taking away from it. I really enjoyed the match. They managed to make the round system mean something, at least, when Moose was almost about to get counted out, but then the round ended before he did. That was cool. Little details like that help. Otherwise, I really enjoyed the match. I liked the finish with them trading finishers at the end here. Even I was fine with Moose no-selling the Claymore, because that's kind of what you do when the other guy is leaving. You don't want to put him over. You don't want to have the guy who's staying only win because he gets help from 20 people. Wink. So I like the match. I'm with you. I don't know why Moose couldn't just get the decisive win. Were they still under the impression that they could get Drew back at this point? They must have been, because I don't think he didn't make the decision to leave, like the definitive decision, until well after this was taped. So I guess, hindsight is 20/20. But I'm assuming that if they had known he was leaving ahead of time, they would have booked this differently. But I think at the time they probably were still under the impression that he was going to stick around. So that's kind of unfortunate. but at least the right guy went over, and he did it on his own, and didn't need help from half the roster to do it.
Absolutely. We're going to move on to the main event here. Only thing I'm really going to say here real fast before that is, where the fuck has EC3 been? Come on, Impact, get your shit together. I cannot wait for next week because I'm so tired of these tapings and this dude. Boring. Bobby Lashley retains over Josh Barnett. There was some stuff on the internet. At the tapings, Barnett did win the belt at one point. There was like a double. There was like a double ending where they both they restarted the match at one point, and then Lashley won, whatnot. So there was like three outtakes. We just saw Lashley kind of go over in a really boring, lackluster match, and of course, good old Josh Matthews didn't really add too much excitement to it. But Kyle, what were your thoughts on this one?
Due to the wonders of internet spoilers, this one got really widespread, so there was really no avoiding it. Kind of throwaway for me. Like, was that it for Barnett? Like, is he coming back? He didn't sign a deal. I don't know. I mean, it was a good match for what it was, but I don't know. At the end of the day, the highlight of the show to me was Rosemary and Jade. This match they didn't really do anything for me, nothing.
FK, what were your thoughts on this one, man?
I'm sorry, talking with the mic muted. This whole Josh Barnett situation was confusing to me. You'd think having a former UFC heavyweight champion wrestling on your show would be a really big deal, right? I don't know why it wouldn't be, but they bring out Josh Barnett to challenge their world champion. Then they give him like a warm-up match on the show with virtually no fanfare whatsoever, with nothing but like one video package on the show to hype it up. Then the following week, they barely mention the match, and then they show the same video package again. And then he has the match with Lashley, and there's nothing really much to say about it. It's an awkward-looking match. It's kind of boring. Nothing really interesting happens, and Lashley retains, even though Barnett got the shoulder up. I guess we're just ignoring that. So, what was the point of this exactly? I don't know. To me, this whole situation kind of stinks of TNA thought they had a really cool idea with the Josh Barnett situation, but for one reason or another, they changed their minds right after the ink was dry on the contract. So by that point, they were committed to it. So, and then they're like, well, we thought it was a good idea, but oh, wait, maybe it's not. So now we kind of have to do this, but we don't really want to, and maybe we shouldn't make a big deal out of it because we've thought better of it now for some reason, or I don't know. But they're like, okay, so let's just okay, we'll do the Josh Barnett thing. We'll get it out of the way. We won't make a big deal out of it. We'll just do it. Now it's done. We can move on. That's the best I've got. I don't know what else could have happened here. It's like it's like the company wasn't even excited about the Josh Barnett thing, which makes me wonder, well, why the hell even do it at all? I don't know. I don't know what there was to be gained by this. They didn't promote it like a big deal. They didn't present it like a big deal. And by all accounts, it really wasn't a big deal. It didn't move the needle. It didn't up the viewership or anything. It didn't generate any buzz. So what was the point of this exactly? I don't know.
Yeah, anyone have anything else to say on this one?
That's a great way to end things. Luckily, this was like the season finale of this era of Impact. I can't wait to see. The problem that was with this episode is you knew going in that this was the end of an era to a certain degree, and we got a lot of good stuff and some bad out of this episode, but you just couldn't wait to see next week's episode. We want to see the new regime.
Yeah, dude, this shit has been so awful. It really has been like the worst thing. Not the worst thing, but it's been so boring, and I just wanted it to end. Impact Wrestling is back next week, and I mean the real Impact Wrestling. It's just, these tapings sound amazing. It's just like there's debuts. There's returns, factions are back, new knockouts coming in. There's so much fresh new talent. Everything is going to change. Guys, check it out. The crowd has been excited. Like, there is a big change coming to Impact Wrestling, and I encourage everyone to check it out. That's it for the Heelcast this week. Have a good week, everyone. Tune in to Impact Wrestling.